Delta outbreak doesn't appear to have reached its peak yet as COVID cases continue to climb, surprising some experts. 82 new infections today brings the total number in this outbreak to 429. 25 are in hospital. That's 6 more than yesterday, with 2 now in intensive care. More than 36,000 tests were processed across the country yesterday. As New Zealand spends its second weekend in lockdown, police have issued nearly 1,600 infringement notices nationwide for breaking COVID restrictions. 93 people have been charged, primarily relating to protest activity in the first few days of level 4. And there have been more than 11,000 reported breaches. So today, police were out in force in our biggest city, as Nicole Bremner reports.
Checking on who's up to speed with the lockdown rules. 2 road policing teams putting Aucklanders to the test, checking licences, employer letters and drivers' own excuses for being out and about.
There's still a number of people that require a little bit of education as to what the Alert Level 4 restrictions are. So those people get spoken to and sent home.
The pink car 1 turned around while police gave chase to a spooked young driver who took off. It's part of a nationwide show of force.
Auckland is the seat of this at the moment, but you know the whole country remains in level 4 lockdown and will be until at least Tuesday night. So we're out and about right across the country.
Today's rule reinforcement coinciding with 82 new COVID cases.
On the beach, when you walk, there's a lot of people without masks, as ourselves as well.
I'm not surprised it's spreading very quickly.
There's a little bit of a concern that we've seen numbers spike up again. What we want to be seeing at the moment is a plateauing and then a decrease in those numbers. However, you shouldn't read too much into a single day's number.
Across the city, huge numbers turning out again for drive-through vaccinations, following yesterday's second highest total of more than 89,000 jabs. Interest in testing still light in places.
If we do see a steady increase over the next few days, then I think it will be time to start thinking about, well, can we toughen restrictions under Alert Level 4? Are there businesses that shouldn't be operating at this alert level to try and slow the growth down in those numbers?
A little bit longer, sticking to the rules, and we'll get out of this together. So long as everyone sticks to the rules and keeps staying local.
Auckland's second quarantine facility now fully prepared for positive cases. The Novotel Ellerslie shut off behind high black fences, a severe upgrade from its days as an MIQ site.
All right, let's bring Nicole in now. And you've just heard from officials about how many positive cases are now in Auckland quarantine facilities, Nicole.
That's right, Simon. We now know that 13 patients are occupying 9 rooms at Auckland's second quarantine facility in Ellerslie, and they make up 173 patients in 305 rooms. The total rooms available across Auckland tonight are 439.
And what's the update on the Warkworth rest home worker who's tested positive?
Well, some positive news there today. All the patients on the affected ward have been tested and all but one of them has returned a negative test. They were expecting the last test back today, and the nurse who was looking after them, the ward worker, was fully vaccinated, and we also now know that she was following all level 4 protocols, including wearing a face mask and full PPE.
Kia ora, Nicole. In Tamaki Makaurau, Nicole Bremner. A Northland COVID sufferer has spoken out about her fear of the virus ripping through the country, and it comes as some local residents express their frustration at the region being kept at level 4, while most of New Zealand will soon be able to move to level 3. Helen Castles has more.
Life's not the same for Kaikohi's Belinda Petey since contracting COVID-19 more than a year ago.
Since I've had COVID, my immune system has really been compromised.
She can't garden or do many of the activities she used to. It's more than 3 hours from here to the nearest known COVID-19 case in Warkworth.
I'm pretty nervous. I was in the supermarket the other day and I got a little bout of anxiety because I realised that I wasn't actually wearing a mask to protect other people, but more to protect myself, because I do not want to get this again.
Concerned at the amount of movement through Warkworth last week, the government's decided it's safer Northland remains in level 4 with Auckland for now.
Whereas, for example, in Wellington and other places, there are confirmed cases and they're going to 3. So why? I guess it's the question out there.
A lot of people here are furious at claims that hundreds of Aucklanders travelled north to their holiday homes at the beginning of lockdown, putting others at risk. Some have told One News it's because of those people that the region's stuck in level 4.
Wellington has cases and we didn't have any cases up here, so I think it's a bit hard for us to fathom.
Checkpoints will stay in place and police say they'll remain highly visible throughout the north. But a shift to level 3 would mean many more businesses could open up. This fishing guru's boat's going to stay dry for some time yet.
And there's businesses all over New Zealand hurting. I don't think Northland's any different. We feel like we've been singled out. Most Northlanders, like most Kiwis, we just want a fair go for Northland.
Over a short time frame, I think it's probably manageable.
Others are pleased about the better safe than sorry approach.
If COVID got out of the community up here, I mean, it could just particularly rip through tangata whenua and all sorts of people, so we don't want it.
I think cautious is good. I think we need to be cautious.
The Prime Minister says Northland and Auckland won't necessarily be treated the same in the future, but that's little consolation right now. Helen Castles, One News.
Sean Clark is Chief Executive of the Far North District Council and joins us now live from Kerry. Thanks for joining us, Sean. As we just heard, change may be coming, but right now you're lumped in with Aucklanders in lockdown. Are you okay with that?
Kia ora, Simon. Look, I was talking to Mayor John Carter earlier today. We're obviously concerned up in Northland that we seem to have our alert level linked with that of Auckland because it matters so much to our economy. Our commerce has to trade, our industry has to operate. Visitors need to come for that essential money go around to operate that we also fundamentally depend on for the basics. So we're quite looking forward to a reassessment of our situation come Monday.
Do Northlanders think they're being fairly treated? What should change in your mind?
Well, there's a lot of divided opinion on that. I think people are just trying to do the right thing. I think for as long as there's a medical logic that applies to the north, that our alert level status is about the medical situation, then we're going to be okay. But if Northland's situation becomes an accident of our geography, where our medical situation is the same as everyone else in the country, but we just happen to find ourselves trapped on the north side of Auckland, then I'm sure the conversation would be quite animated. For now, there is a medical logic. We do have that case in Warkworth. We do have a lot of blue dots on the map for close contacts of COVID up north that are getting tested, but we're not yet completed in those testing, so it's just too early to call.
You touched on it a moment back, but what does the current setting mean for the local economy and what's the ongoing on-flowing impact on the community?
Oh, look, there's just a lot of businesses closed, Simon. A lot of people not able to do their work, not able to go to work. There are a lot of students who are unable to study, and the situation's exacerbated in the far north because we have connectivity issues. So there are a lot of people who just cannot work and connect from home for their work or their study. And remember, 27% of our households in the far north earn less than $30,000 per year. So there just isn't that cushion there for a lot of families to call on in these sort of shocks.
And talking to locals as you do, how worried are they that Aucklanders may have brought the virus north?
Well, I guess the first point is we don't have it north. Aucklanders haven't brought it north as best we can tell, and we've tested all of our wastewater treatment systems over the last couple of weeks, and we're still showing clear. So the fact is we have an excellent police force working under Superintendent Tony Hill on the border, and when we can get differentiation between Auckland and Northland, I think there's a high level of confidence that that border is secure.
Thanks very much for your time, Sean. That's Sean Clark, Chief Executive of the Far North District Council. Meanwhile, businesses south of Auckland are looking forward to the alert level change, which will allow many to open again from Wednesday. While level 4 has once again been crippling for some, others are now well versed at moving their services online. Ryan Boswell reports.
Sold without a hammer in sight. The property market still going strong through lockdown.
Yeah, I've signed on paper, so just basically sent through the document and just one signature, so it's quite an easy process.
With no face-to-face meetings or open homes, the current restrictions mean business is being done online.
We're still selling about 2 houses a day, so our sales haven't actually dropped off because of the level 4 lockdown. And if anything, they might be sort of on par, if not slightly up, just because of that, more people having more time to talk to our team.
The drop to level 3 for those south of Auckland is expected to make it easier for agents to operate and prompt more interest from buyers.
Given the amount of demand that we're seeing right throughout this lockdown, we're going to need at least those 2 private viewings.
Right now, 85% of consumer businesses are shut. Last year, when we dropped to level 3, 43% were able to operate, including construction.
Level 3 is very useful for us. It means we can get back to the building sites, obviously practicing and maintaining social distancing, so that'd be a huge benefit for the construction industry as a whole.
Based on last year, it's also expected to see almost 80% of liquor stores, over half of restaurants and 3/4 of money providers back in operation. Canterbury's Chamber of Commerce questions whether the rules should have been relaxed today.
Treasury indicated that it was around 1.45 billion per week where the country's in lockdown, so that's pretty significant. And we also know that when Auckland are in lockdown, it does still have a significant impact on our economy here in Canterbury.
Gyms among those still closed under level 3. Some are pushing hard to make it work online.
I can still work from home like I was previously, and just sending kind of programs to clients online, interacting with clients through kind of Zoom meetings.
Giving clients a physical challenge during a lockdown, that can be mentally tough.
And Ryan is with us now live. Ryan, another incident with the vaccine rollout in Canterbury. Tell us more.
That's right, Simon. 13 people may have been given a low dose of the COVID-19 vaccination this month. 12 of those people have been contacted, but the 13th person has yet to be tracked down by the Ministry of Health. Now, the Ministry does say it is of concern, but those patients haven't been put in harm's way. Still, it will be implementing new procedures and giving staff additional training. Now, this comes after a similar incident here in Christchurch last month, where we saw 6 people given a low dose, and in Auckland too, there were 5 people who were given a dose of saline rather than the COVID-19 jab, Simon.
In Ōtautahi, Christchurch, Ryan Boswell, thank you very much. Well, from rugby to COVID jabs, Wellington Sky Stadium is open to the public as the city's first drive-through vaccination clinic. It's the largest site in the capital, with 826 cars booked in today, and it'll run until at least Tuesday. The stadium had been due to host a Bledisloe test match tonight before the Trans-Tasman bubble closed. More than 89,000 New Zealanders got a vaccine jab yesterday. That's the second highest daily total so far. Some workplaces are looking to implement no jab, no job policies, particularly for new employees. Lawyers say they've been inundated with queries from employers confused about what they can and can't do. Jessica Roden has the story.
A dream job for some, a hut warden with the Department of Conservation, outdoor experience required, and now a COVID-19 vaccine too. The latest outbreak causing many employers to rethink.
Fielding a lot more inquiries from businesses about whether they can make it a mandatory requirement for employees to be vaccinated.
Sudima has 7 large hotels around the country. They're considering making vaccination a requirement for new staff.
If New Zealand as a destination wants to ensure that it's attractive, then we should be making every effort in the tourism industry to ensure that we mitigate all risks.
Both the Department of Conservation and Sudima say the roles have close contact with the public, including international tourists, warranting a mandatory vaccination policy. So what are the rules? Generally speaking, businesses can't require vaccination. However, they can make it mandatory for some roles. But the bar is high. There has to be a high risk of contracting and spreading COVID-19.
The threshold for deciding where work has to be done by a vaccinated person, that's the principal area of confusion, because it's not at all clear.
There's a grey area and what they can do in terms of staff who, for example, refuse to be vaccinated.
In those cases, a job should be found elsewhere, if possible.
There are going to be a lot of people whose jobs have to be done by vaccinated people, and if they choose not to, then there's simply no job for them.
Earlier this year, the government made it compulsory for border workers to be vaccinated, but there are no plans to expand that to the wider workforce, leaving many businesses to figure it out for themselves.
We feel that it's just the right thing to do.
Yet another challenge for businesses working in uncharted territory. Jessica Roden, One News.
Around 50 young Pasifika are volunteering as frontline workers as COVID cases continue to rise in their community. South Seas Healthcare's youth hub Bubblegum have mobilised across the Pacific Providers Health and Wellbeing Services. Pacific correspondent Barbara Drever with this report.
In the heart of Otara, Pasifika youth volunteering to help their families, their community. 70% of the cases in this Delta outbreak are Pasifika. Their young people are running this food bank because they know about hardship firsthand.
Uncertainty around their wages. A lot of these families, they're having to cater to their grandparents or their aunties and uncles who are not able to come out and drive out to these kind of places.
Hundreds of food boxes are distributed from here every day. Most of these ones are headed out to families in the AOG Church of Samoa cluster. Bubblegum have hit the phones checking on fellow youth in the community. Many are worried about their families and there's concern they will leave school to provide for them.
Mental health is definitely an issue, especially with the pressures of not only having a family that needs support but also having school on top of that. So we wanted to go online with our academic program to keep them in school.
Just before lockdown, Bubblegum youth helped their elderly get vaccinated. Many of them with English as a second language struggled with the paperwork. Now in level 4, they're helping with the 0800 Pasifika vaccination helpline. Where other booking lines don't give second language options, this one does.
She couldn't really understand what they were saying to her, so at the end of that, she ended up cancelling her appointment. And then she called our 0800 Pasifika line and she booked in herself, her husband and her son.
They call us and they're quite scared. So I think just by us talking to them and knowing that we are Pasifika as well, I think that helps them take that scare away from them, to be honest.
The youth passing on the message, there'll be no discrimination.
Even if it's our own Pasifika people being non-residential as well, we're also able to put in a new case.
Together, the Bubblegum youth determined to make a difference. Barbara Drever, One News.
Whaiakene coming up next. The US fires back in Afghanistan, but